everyone. Time for a playthrough of Castlevania Harmony of Dissonance. Now, never done a video in this style before, an unscripted, just commentated ramble through the game. So, hopefully the commentary will stay interesting as I try to play through this. Anyway, this is a game I've played before quite a few times. It's maybe not a favorite of mine, but I definitely think it's overhated. People rate this game pretty harshly, and I mean, I understand it, because this game definitely pretty flawed. I definitely won't deny that. This game has some very curious design decisions. But, you know, I think it's fun enough that it's possible to look past all of that and still have a good time, which, you know, is really what's important if you're playing a game. Who really cares if there's some shit wrong with it, as long as it's just good and fun at the end of the day. Of course, as I get through the game, I'll be able to point out some of the weird and shitty decisions, be able to comment on them, but I'll get to those when we get there. I won't skip through any of the cutscenes or text or anything like that either. I've already seen it 100 times, but, you know, suppose for the viewer, it's probably better, you know, if I actually show all the dialogue and stuff rather than just mash through all of it. Just, you know, press start and skip all the text. Anyway, this is being played on the Castlevania Advanced Collection on Steam, which I originally considered just playing on MGBA and emulating with, you know, my totally legit Harmony of Dissonance ROM, but I haven't opened up the Advanced Collection in a few years, and it's higher resolution, has higher quality sound, and maybe easier to work with in OBS, so, you know, might as well just boot it up and use it. I don't know how good my voice is going to sound in this video. You know, I've never really tried to do something like this before, where I'm recording my own voice, and I had to spend had to take a few takes messing with the OBS mic settings and filters and stuff, trying to minimize the amount of unwanted background noise. Really hope it's not coming through. Okay, let's get into this shit. Man, listen to that music. Already one of the biggest criticisms people have with this game right off the bat is the music is not nearly as good as it really should for a GBA game. It's definitely closer to the Game Boy Color, but well, I think the music is composed well, at least, although I don't really know shit about music, so maybe I'm wrong, but I don't know. I don't hate the music in this game. I think it's alright. Okay. Yeah, as you can already see here, if you've never played Castlevania before, you have these sub-weapons, which, you know, hold up and press your attack button, and they give you some kind of special attack. The one I have equipped right now is the Fist, which only ever appeared in this game. It's alright. I'd actually say, compared to the other sub-weapons, it's not all that good. The range has long a horizontal range, but the damage is pretty low. Pretty situational. Now, here we go. This is an upgrade. Bible's definitely better, I'd say, but we have yet to come across the best sub-weapon. That will be for later. Anyway, what else is there to say about this game? Well, you probably noticed me dashing all over the place like a lunatic. Definitely the thing I like the most about this game is the movement, because, well, dashing enables you to just go really fast anywhere and any direction. And you can cancel out of a dash into an attack, and vice versa. You can just cancel at any point of your attack. Well, after the attack lands, you can cancel it into a dash. So, you can pretty quickly, you know, attack an enemy, dash in, hit an enemy, dash out, hit again. The movement is very freeform in this game. Okay. Got some equipped, so put those on real quick. The game is not all that difficult if you know what you're doing, so You can level up and get better gear and stuff, but it's like, I mean, getting more defense. Again, if you know what you're doing, you can dodge most attacks pretty easily, probably. So, armor's not that huge of a deal. There is a shop later to buy more armor, but getting money is a hell of a grind, I feel like, and it's pretty lame. A bit unnecessary as well. I've never really bothered with it, but the type of thing where once you come across a shop, you have the money. If you have the money and, you know, there's something better than whatever you have currently equipped, you know, might as well get it. A little later in the game, your money might be better spent on consumables, but definitely getting ahead of myself. It'll be a bit before we get there. You know, still pretty early in the game, so most of these basic skeletons will just die in a single hit. There we go. Here's our first save room. Definitely be using these whenever I see them. I remember the first time I played this game, I ended up just accidentally walking straight past every single save room I encountered. And so I ended up dying, and because I hadn't saved my game yet, well, I just lost all my progress, and it already put me in a sour mood. I was not the biggest fan of this game the first time I played it. I feel like this game is not very friendly at all to first-time players, but it, in a weird way, gets a lot better once you replay it and you actually know where you're going and what you're doing. Anyway, not that much dialogue in this game. I mean, this game's story, nothing too crazy. I mean, you weren't looking at the screen for whatever reason, and you didn't see the opening narration. Just, you know, typical Castlevania Belmont shenanigans. Gotta, you know, kill Dracula. Of course, I'm not really playing this game much for the story. Alright, but care. Definitely the type to care more about the actual gameplay of a game, but if a game has a really good story to go with it, you know, it's just bonus points, but game story is nothing special, or, you know, mind-blowing or anything, but, I mean, it doesn't need to be. It's not what I'm going in expecting. Guys with their damn lances. Such a, not a hard enemy to deal with, but at the beginning of the game, definitely time wasters. Here we go, though. Now we're getting to the good stuff. We got our first spellbook, which you can go into the menu here and turn on your book, and it buffs your sub-weapon. Pretty cool stuff. And, you know, we got a max heart upgrade, which, if you've never played Castlevania, you might be confused why... Like, let's see here. Is this guy gonna drop anything? You'll be able to see in a second. Alright, another level up. Nice. Hopefully this commentary ends up being not completely incoherent, because again, this is all unscripted. Might do some minor editing afterwards. You know, clean stuff up a bit, maybe edit in some images when it's relevant. Anyway, if you've never played Castlevania before, you are likely confused why picking up a heart does not restore your health. Because hearts are ammo for your sub-weapons. Completely independent from your actual health bar. And, you know, in typical Castlevania fashion, you can break candles and chandeliers and those sorts of things, just get more hearts, or I guess in this case right now I just got some money. I think in this game, I think whether you get money or hearts by breaking a candle is actually per candle, like it's not random. I think everyone is preset to have a certain drop. I mean, there are money grinding spots later if you feel like doing it. Ooh. You don't really need to be over here right now, but you guys could give some good EXP to start with. Yeah, as you can see, I'm pretty experienced with this game, so it's very easy to just trivialize a lot of enemies by just dashing up to them, immediately backing out of their range, and just whacking them until they die. Guys being a bit tough though. We get a max HP increase as well. Yeah, those lizard guys are definitely, I feel like if you're playing for the first time, those lizard guys will definitely get a lot of hits on you when it's probably, you know, they'll get a lot of hits on you that they probably shouldn't have. If that makes sense. But if you know what you're doing, you can just dash in and out really fast and just, you know, make light work of them, which is kind of just most of the enemies in this game, to be totally honest. Here we go. Forgot something in this room. Your guys are definitely a pain. Where you can actually block your attacks. It's kind of weird. There's not really many enemies later in the game that are like that for some reason. Thing is, the game would go on, the enemies would get, you know, better tactics and start blocking your attacks, but no, not really for most of them. Anyway, we're getting close to, you know what, sure, I'll take the axe for now. Actually, if I remember correctly, up here should be our first real sub-weapon. No, it's just another Bible. Bible's nice, but got our first boss fight coming up in just a second here, and well, the axe is definitely going to be better for it. Not that it's a very difficult boss. In fact, I'm fairly certain it's actually completely optional. If you take a look at the map here, you can see you can just go straight up and over this room and completely skip it. So I don't even think you're actually required to ever do this boss, but you know, might as well. It's just extra EXP, you know. Even though it's a pretty boring boss, to be totally honest. At least his little intro is cool. And this is why he's so annoying, because every few hits you get on him will reform into a bunch of smaller bats and then just become invincible. So, quickest way to deal with this guy is to stand around and let him hit you. Here we go, then we'll start doing this, and now you have plenty of time to just start whacking him. Sorry, I'm a bit, definitely a bit sick while recording this. I don't want to, cough and be gross a whole bunch to my mic. That would probably not be very pleasant to listen to. But yeah. The thing with the spell books here is that they have a different spell for every sub-weapon, so I have the axe now, and you can see it does this. Pretty cool, and that does a bunch of damage, too. You can really shred this guy with this. There we go. There are 5 spellbooks you get in the game. Well, none of them are mandatory. There's actually a hidden spellbook out of those 5. But we'll be getting to that a lot later. I'm pretty much all out of hearts. Some of the spells, really, really good and pretty much just game-breaking. Other spells, not very, not impressive at all, to say the least. Some of the spells just kind of suck ass, but you know what? You can't all be winners, you know? Hey, here we go. More equipment. Okay. Yeah, a lot of people are not very kind to this game when reviewing it, because they criticize the music. They definitely like to criticize the graphical quality, because well, this is the second Castlevania game on the GBA. The first one was Circle of the Moon, which was actually a launch title for the GBA. And that game's, one of its most infamous downsides was the game had a very dark and desaturated color palette, which it looked really nice. The problem is, big issue with the original GBA was that there was no backlight on the screen. Ooh, gotta cut myself off real quick, because got our first elemental stone, which just a slight attack bonus, and it just gives an element to your whip attack, which, I'm gonna be real, in most of my playthroughs I honestly don't bother, because most of the enemies in the game don't actually even have an elemental weakness. I guess a lot of these skeleton enemies, I think they're weak to fire, but a lot of them already just die in, like, one hit anyway. You can see it still takes 3 hits to take these guys down. Even though I equipped the stone, it doesn't really do that much, but hey, it's 2 extra points of attack. You know, why not? Anyway, as I was saying, Circle of the Moon was a launch title for GBA, and the game had a very dark color palette, and yet the GBA itself had a no backlight on its screen in the original model, which meant the game was really, really hard to see. And so, you know, they tried to address that problem in this game, so they made the colors a bit brighter. It's just that they definitely overcompensated a little bit. You will really see what I'm talking about. We get to some rooms later in this game. There are certain places in this game that the screen basically just becomes colorful clown vomit, and it is really straining on the eyes to look at, but oh, we do not want that knife. Oh shit. Guy is really tough for this point in the game. Oh shit. Uh-oh. Don't want to die to him. I could get a whole lot of EXP if I... Ooh. Ooh. Gotta heal up a little bit. You can actually manage to take this guy out, you get a lot of EXP for it. There we go. I got a level up off of it, but he's really hard. Conveniently, there's a life max up right behind him, so if you didn't feel like using a potion like I did, you could honestly just, you could try to just, you know, face tank and just damage boost through him, although you do not get very many iframes in this game. You don't get very much invincibility after you get hit, so you'd end up kind of just killing yourself on accident and feeling really stupid if you try to do it. You know, maybe not so worth it. Anyway, here we go, we get a collectible. I believe this is the one that makes it so monsters display their name when you hit them, which is a pretty standard feature in Castlevania. It's just that, for some reason in this game, the ability to see the monster's name when you kill it, you see it in the bottom right, for some reason you have to pick up an upgrade to get this ability when, like, every other game in the series, almost, you just have that default by default. You got the monster tome as well, I believe. That opens... Oh, I think that gives you access to the bestiary. Not that you really need to check it, especially since this is the advanced collection, so... The advanced collection, so you can see here. And actually just check in a much more detailed bestiary right here. You can see information on the spells and stuff as well, but I don't really need that. Just, you know, might as well show it off. If I'm playing the advanced collection, you know, might as well point it out, I suppose. That is another nice feature of the advanced collection, as you can see on the right, on the little border next to the game. You can see the tome I just collected, and that's because when you go to an area in this game, there are basically question mark icons on the advanced collection's HUD that shows you how many, like, key items are to grab there, which is, you know, pretty neat. Maybe confusing if you're playing for the first time because this is a Metroidvania. So, you know, there's a lot of backtracking to be done in this game. I want that. Yeah, so maybe if you're playing this game for the first time, you'd be going through an area and see that there's like 2 or 3 objects you're missing, and you would have no clue that it's actually something you're supposed to just go back for much later in this game, and you know, this game has its backtracking, alright. Game really has some backtracking, but we will definitely get to that. Or these lizard guys, but they still take the same number of hits to take down, but oh, here it is, a dead end. You really better get used to seeing these, because this game loves its backtracking, and it really loves its dead ends as well. Oh damn, I've never seen him do that kind of lunge attack before. What the? Funny to me that this large ghost enemy is so huge and intimidating, and yet he's a really weak enemy who only appears in this early area. Rat guys are way more threatening though. Their rock can actually hit pretty hard, and if you're reckless, you can end up eating a whole bunch of unnecessary hits from them. As you can see on the map here, this area I'm in is very, very open and winding. A lot of stuff to get here. It'd be a little bit of a headache to navigate, to be honest, because yeah, I think I ended up just running in a circle. There are a lot of different spots you can go. This area loops in on itself a whole lot. Anyway, something else you may notice about this game is that I am rarely ever actually walking, and I'm just spamming my LNR dashes. And it's because, well, dashing is really good for combat, because you can just cancel your whip attacks into a dash and just dodge back and forth, but it's clearly just, you know, way faster than walking. And, you know, this is a Metroidvania. There's a lot of exploring and walking around, and so you naturally are gonna want to minimize the time you spend doing that. And dashing is just really fun and really satisfying. The fact that it spams the same sound effect over and over again always cracks me up. I don't really have a big open stretch to demonstrate it because of all these lizards. This repeated dash spamming noise is so funny to me, just so amusing. But the type of thing that makes your fingers hurt if you play the game for like 2 hours at a time, because just mashing the shit out of the L and R buttons, you know, over and over again. Ooh, nice crit. Yeah, this game, like, I think the only other Castlevania game that had critical hits was Symphony of the Night, which, be prepared to hear that a lot, me saying the only other Castlevania that did blank was Symphony of the Night, because the game copied a lot of homework from Symphony of the Night. This game, die again. The game took a lot of stuff from Symphony of the Night. It's very heavy. I don't want to say derivative of it. I suppose that is, you know, the game is pretty derivative of Symphony, but I feel like that has a negative connotation. Speaking of negatives, a pretty worthless upgrade. What the energy circle is supposed to do is, if you hold the attack button, you can see your whip goes slack, goes limp, and if you press directions, you can just wiggle it all over. It's kind of funny and mildly useful for killing like Medusa heads or bats or the other 1 HP enemies that respawn infinitely, but what the energy circle does is you lower your own attack, and it makes it so when you hold the attack button, you spin your whip automatically. So you cut your own attack to do something that you could already do perfectly fine. Yeah, you tell me if that sounds worth it. Because it's not. Glad that victory armor despawned, by the way. My health is getting a bit low. But you get plenty of potions in this game, and they heal you for a whole bunch, so unless you're super, super reckless or like really low level, it's pretty difficult to die in this game against most enemies. Yeah, I am being pretty reckless right now and just kind of eating hits from these lizards for no reason. What I was just talking about, what you shouldn't do earlier. Anyway. Oh, cutscene here, I completely forgot. Juiced's buddy Maxim is tweaking a little bit. Wow, he's so tsundere, man. Not just kidding. Tsundere is just the shittiest fucking personality trait of all time, but that's getting pretty sidetracked. No, it's not here. It's something really good around here, but I don't quite remember exactly where it is. Should be in a nearby room, or maybe I just completely missed it. It has been a little bit since I played this game. I don't know where everything is, just off the top of my head. Oh, there it is. You got the cross. Easily the best sub-weapon, which is the case for most Castlevania games, and this game is no exception. The cross is fucking insane. It has great range, can hit enemies multiple times, can pass through multiple enemies, has some very great spells you can use with it, and, well, this first spell we have is not one of those great ones. This one's actually pretty mid, but it's pretty cool. You get a little ice crystal familiar that shoots projectiles. Really, really weak projectiles, but they, I mean, it shoots them. It's really not that useful in this game, because if you hit an enemy, there is a cooldown before they're allowed to take damage again. And so, if the crystal hits them for, like, chip damage, and you swing your whip just go clean through the enemy, and you'll have just wasted your, just wasted your time. Anyway. New boss fight, and there's a very interesting glitch in this game, which makes combat much easier. I'm gonna attempt it here. I don't quite remember how to do it, so I believe the input is you have to do an extremely low jump, throw a cross in midair, then you have to land, throw another cross, dash, and then swing your whip. So let's try it. I only have so many hearts, so didn't really work. I don't remember the exact setups, but one of the most powerful and hilarious glitches in this game, damage stacking, where, so, like I was saying, you can, like, swing your whip at an enemy or whatever, and they will get some cooldown frames. And this, I believe it's because the game is considering different damage sources. So, like, my ice crystal and my whip, those are two different sources of damage. And, basically, if you can overlap 3 sources of damage all at the same time on an enemy, you can kind of confuse the shit out of the game. And it will basically just completely remove its damage cooldown, which means you will just be dealing damage to the enemy every single frame. And so you can just melt so many bosses by doing this if they're large enough. And if you get set up correctly, it's very, very powerful. Anyway, now that we beat that boss, we got the slide kick. I do believe it's faster than spamming dashes for movement, but, well, spamming dashes is way more fun. You can kick enemies as you slide into them, but I believe if you don't kill the enemy in one hit with your kick, then you'll just bounce off. So it's only really useful for super weak enemies that you're trying to just plow through if you're backtracking through, you know, an early area, like I am right now. Yeah, as you can see, I didn't kill that guy with my slide kick, so I kind of just got stuck by him. Kind of sucks, but... I mean, the slide is less for combat, and more for movement. Anyway, we can head over here now, and now we got another book. So, something people will criticize about this game is the fact that you have to, if you want to switch books, you have to go to this menu every single time and toggle your book on and off. Which is a pain, except something the game does not tell you. I assume it mentions this in the manual. I'd have to check a PDF, but basically, if you look at my little cross over there, you can see the background is red, because I currently have the fire book active. You can see if I turn it off, it goes gray to show that there are no spells active. However, if you hold down, you press L and R at the same time, and actually toggle your book on and off without having to pause, and you hold up, and then you press L or R, you toggle left and right through your different books that you have. And so once you know that little trick, spells become much easier and just super fluid to start using. And you can just switch between throwing your normal sub-weapon and casting spells on the fly, and it's very satisfying. It's one of the things I really like about this game. It goes underappreciated, I feel like. Okay. Oh, there's nothing else that way. There's still some stuff to get. We go back to this area, now that we have the slide kick. Don't quite remember where all of it is, but... be okay. The interesting thing about these rock armor enemies is that, in case you didn't notice, when they throw their rock at you, if you time your whip swing well, you can actually hit the rock out of midair and break it, which... if you're directly under it, the rock rubble will actually fall on you and deal damage to you. But if you crouch, you can mitigate that and just dodge it, so... oops. That's the Castlevania classic right there, is going too fast, just breaking every single chandelier and candle you see to get hearts. Then you accidentally pick up some sub-weapon you don't want. And it can get really annoying in some rooms where the sub-weapon will spawn right next to a cliff, so when you pick it up, your old sub-weapon just flying down into the next room, and you just lose it. But I memorized the spots where that happens a lot in this game, so I'm really gonna worry about that. Anyway, there's a lot of enemies you're fighting, so now would be a decent time to test Fire Cross. I mean, it's a pretty neat attack. Nothing super special. Probably an improvement over the Ice Cross just because of the pure damage. Here, you can get a max health upgrade again. Game is unlike Circle of the Moon in that Circle of the Moon had like 50 max health upgrades and like 50 max heart upgrades throughout that game's castle, and a huge chunk of them were just hidden behind breakable walls, which is something people gripe about a lot with that game, but long story short, I actually am quite a fan of it. Probably because I memorized where most of the breakable walls were, and a lot of them have tells. This game still has max HP and heart upgrades, but there are way, way fewer of them, and like they don't do the hidden behind walls shit, which is probably better, to be honest. I mean, Circle of the Moon, that game's biggest flaw was definitely the fact that it was the kind of game where if you didn't have a guide, you'd just miss half the shit in the game. This game is not like that at all, I wouldn't say, although, I mean, I've played this game many times over the years now, the past like 4 or 5 years, and I've just kind of naturally remember where a lot of the stuff in this game is, so... Actually, you know what? No. Scratch everything I said. There are a handful of things in this game that, if you didn't look it up, you would just have absolutely no fucking way of knowing that they're there. There's some particularly egregious stuff, kind of. It's the type of stuff that, like, if you think about it for a little bit, you go, yeah, it makes sense in hindsight, but, like, if you were playing for the first time, you would never fucking find this stuff. Anyway, I'm rambling on quite a bit, and now we're just looping around this entrance area to the castle for the third time in a row. I'm not exactly making good time, but it's not like I'm trying to speedrun or anything, so just cut the shit and just quickly get back to where we're actually trying to go. You know what? Quickly head back and save. This next stretch of the game is definitely kind of brutal. It's an endurance test for sure, because you have to go a really long way without a save point, and you have to go through very long hallways with a lot of enemies. So, again, if you're not careful, you can end up just losing a whole bunch of health and just dying. And you're getting set back, quite a bit if you die in this oncoming stretch here, just because of how long you have to go without another save room. Anyway, head back over here now. Not really sure why this room on the left is here. Well, there is like a life up or something in it, but anyway. We did not come into this room before, and that's because, well, without the slide kick, you can't actually get very far down here. New bandana, let's put that on. Actually, not any better than... It's weaker than all of my other equips right now, which is really strange, considering the fact that, well... I get this fancy bandana item after I've acquired the cloak and these leather items, and yet it's weaker than them in terms of defense, so it's like... I don't believe there would ever be a use case for this equip at any point in the game. I feel like there's actually a handful of equips in this game like that. But anyway, I talked about this game's flaws earlier, and I briefly mentioned that the graphics are very bright and saturated, and this next room is what I was alluding to. Avert your eyes. It's pure pixel vomit in here. I'm not really sure what the devs really thought they were doing. I don't know if they thought this was like a cool background or not, but it's very eye-bleeding. Maybe it was just some kind of weird test thing when they were messing around more with the GBA's, you know, rotating backgrounds and sprite features and all that sort of stuff. Anyway, I don't know. At least we don't have to look at it anymore. Time to use this weird-looking gate. See, this is really the point, I feel like, where a lot of newcomers are really going to start falling off of the game, and it starts with that line of dialogue, I feel like, where Juiced here says, you know, something seems different, and then you wind up in a completely different area. And what he says there is supposed to be alluding to something, but it's not something that you're even going to be made aware of for, like, the next hour of gameplay. I hope you don't get sick of this song, by the way, because you're going to be listening to it a lot. Pretty tough enemy down here, but... take him on. And would you look at that? A max HP upgrade. A dodge. Hey. Yeah, the cross is really strong. You can take down a bunch of enemies by just, you know, spamming crosses at them. And our reward is a life up, and, of course, a dead end for the locked door. The Harmony of Dissonance Classic. Well, let's continue going to the right here. And when I say right, I mean left. I just, you know, fucking dumbass. Not want that. Anyway. Oh yeah, there's a save down here. Which is nice, except the save is that the... Like, look at this room. Like, look at this layout of this area. So weird. At the end of this quite long path, and there's yet still a pretty long path up ahead. Okay, we just gotta make our way through everything. But yeah, something you may have noticed is that your slide kick's damage, it's actually just identical to the damage of your whip. The question is, right now my whip is fire element because I have the Firestone. I do not know if that actually, like, I don't know if the element carries over to your kick. Because if it does, that would honestly be pretty funny. Where's the next one? Listen to this guy. Oh, shit. Oh, oops. Listen to that little yelp he makes. Woo! I don't even know if my mic is picking that up. Fucking hell. Go. See, so in comparison with Circle of the Moon, this game like definitely added some interesting stuff. They wanted to show like I feel like Circle of the Moon was a very vanilla game. It was a launch title for the GBA, you know, so they didn't really do anything crazy with it. But this game, I feel like is where the devs were like, you know, okay, let's do some interesting stuff with the hardware, and this is an example of that. This enemy here, you knock him back enough, and this happens. Pretty neat. This game messes a lot with enemies that have, like, scaling and rotating sprites like that. Which Circle of the Moon did not do at all. So, they definitely were trying to flex their, you know, technical know-how at this point. Although, I suppose it came at the cost of the music. I remember seeing somebody, some Discord server or something, post an explanation for why the game's music sounds like it does, and why it sounds like it's from a Game Boy Color game. Something to do with the GBA's hardware. I'm not enough of a nerd to really understand that kind of stuff. Anyway. This guy here, pretty based. I mean, trapped in Dracula's castle, nothing else to do, so you just set up shop and wait for somebody to come buy some shit. Got our first job here, and as you can see, you can buy some gear, which is like a marginal improvement. Except, I can't actually afford it. 800 gold for 8 extra points of defense. It's just really not worth it. I suppose you can buy the map. I might as well. Why not? I mean, if you know the layout of the map already, you don't need the map. Buy some potions as well. It can't hurt to have more. Selling in this game is kind of weird. You can only sell these gem items. Again, it was like this because that's how it was in Symphony of the Night. I believe that game, you could only sell the designated sellable gems. Which I find annoying, but I suppose it's better than Circle of the Moon's. You can't sell anything at all, and there is no shop or money. Ooh. Yo, we got bomber armor, which is like the rock armor, except way more dangerous because their bombs they throw has an explosion that lingers for much longer than the exploding boulder that the rock armor throws. Ooh, another potion. It's kind of funny now that I see that. You can buy potions from the shopkeep over there, or you could just go over here and kill peeping eyes and get potions, or better yet, you could probably just break candles and get money for potions, because those potions were really cheap. Yeah, gotta be really careful with these. You gotta be really careful with these bomber guys, because if you're not, that's what really whittles away at your health here. Gotta be careful of the ectoplasms as well. They go down in one hit, but they will inflict a status ailment on you if they hit you. Yes, this game has status ailments. And they can inflict a very nasty one. Here we go, some more armor. As you can see, yeah, there's the plate armor I could have bought in the store. I didn't even equip it. And then you walk 5 steps to the right, and you get the cloth tunic, which is just strictly better, and it has more defense. So you really don't have to worry about the shops in this game. Come on. When shit like that happens, all of the really, really good gear, for the most part, you find just laying around. You really don't have to buy it. If you really want later in the game, you can buy better gear, specifically the ceramic mail. I believe it's the highest defense gear in the game, but it appears in the shop that only opens under certain conditions, and is extremely expensive. It's just not worth the grind at all. I've never bothered getting it for myself, because by the time you're at a level where you can grind for the ceramic mail, you're already at a level where you can just go beat the fucking game, so, you know. Oh, would you look at that over there? Take care of this guy first. Has to fly away, though. We got our first... Right here, we got a chair. And that is a surprise little tool that will help us later. This game has quite possibly the most bizarre side quest I've seen in a game before. Side quest as in, it's something that spans across the course of the entire game. I'm getting ahead of myself. We'll get into it in more detail in just a moment here. Definitely not taking the knife. Now, yeah, I'm getting ahead of myself. As you can see, down here, get used to this room. This is a bit of like a central hub almost. It connects to 4 different areas in the map. And more importantly, go down here, find There's a room here. Oh, what a nice room. Maybe a bit tasteless, perhaps some furniture. Okay, I guess I'll try putting this down right here. And yeah, this is what I mean. This game has a side quest that spans across the entire game, where you can get collectible pieces of furniture, and if you come to the room, Juiced will put the furniture in the room and decorate. In Dracula's castle. And so, it's like, I'm not really even sure what to say about it exactly, because there's not really much to it. You literally just, like, you just collect furniture laying around. None of them are particularly hidden. It's just, if you just explore every inch of the map, you'll find them. Which, I mean, applies, you know, to every collectible. But it's not like some of the other collectibles where they're very hidden behind, like, breakable walls or, like, some other stupid shit. No, you just, like, just go into a room and you just find them. A lot of them are just laying straight in your path, and you can't miss them at all. You can see on the right there, on the UI for the Advanced Collection, there are 3 red question marks and a blue one. Yeah, those red question marks, those are all furniture. I don't remember exactly how many furnitures there are. There may have been, I believe it was slightly over 30 furnitures, maybe like 31 or 32. Yeah, as you play through the game, you will just find pretty much all of them. Ooh, ankle guards. Another piece of gear that kind of just invalidates the shop. Oh. There's another one of these guys down here, I believe. Yeah, the skeleton spider. It's such a strange enemy design, but I kind of fuck with it. It's like kind of creepy. I do like it when Castlevania has its like creepy enemy designs. Oh, there's not that many of them. I don't even know which game does that the best. I mean, it's Castlevania. A lot of the sprites just get reused between games. The game has its fair share of original sprites, but a lot of the enemies are just, you know, asset flips from older Castlevanias. Pretty standard for the series. Not really, you know, not really a negative against the game. I find it kind of charming, in fact. I do like it when older games do that, where they just reuse assets, and there's a bit of an art style clash because of it, but in a weird, like, coping kind of way, I do like it. I mean, you know, the fucking most perfect example of this is any Capcom game with the Morrigan sprite. You know, they really, really loved using that sprite. Oh, and there's another dead end up here. The heart max that I can't get. Pop a potion real quick, because my health is getting really low. Even just basic potion, you can see they heal for so much. They heal for like 100. A little less than 100. And these skeleton spider enemies are also interesting because you can just slide straight under them and ignore them. And they do take quite a lot of hits to kill, so if you're in a rush or you don't feel like killing them, you know, it's quite trivial to just do that. You can also see they will spawn facing left or right depending on where you enter the room from. Okay. More skeletons. As, you know, the name Skeleton Caves implies. You probably figured there were a lot of skeletons here. Now, hey, look, we got another piece of furniture. We got this crazy looking skull here as well. Guess you have to hit it from this side. Yeah, this is definitely one of those little environmental set pieces where the devs were like, you know, hey, look, we're actually utilizing the GBA's potential, kind of, now. Which, you know, again, not really anything I take away from Circle of the Moon for being pretty safe. Again, the launch title kind of gets a pass. I don't know. It's nice that they tried to improve with this game. It's just that game, you know, game has its flaws. I've already said that like 3 fucking times. I think we'll be able to get more into those flaws pretty soon here, because again, I believe this part of the game is where newcomers start to really just scratch their heads and get frustrated. I know damn well I was getting pretty fed up around this point in the game when I first played. Hey, look, it's Maxim yet again. Done his, you know, Gary Oak type of shit, always one step ahead. Except, you know, going through a phase right now. He's, you know, being a bit rude, you can tell, because the little background for his portrait there is red. Such a fucking edgelord, man. He's even calling me by my last name, Belmont. Like, what the fuck, man? He's got a pretty funny laugh. I love all the sound bites in this game. It's been so long since I've actually played the Anniversary Edition. I forgot how high quality the sound bites were, or how like crunchy they were on the GBA. That's really amusing, actually. I believe the first time I played this game all the way through, though, it was definitely on the Advanced Collection. I think it was on my Switch, because I already had Advanced Collection on Steam, but I also bought it on my Switch, just, you know, so I had something to play on it. There we go, finally another save room. Take a look at this, look at the map. Look at how many rooms we had to go through to get to another save. This is what I was talking about. This stretch of the game is pretty rough, especially if you're going in blind. Now, in the room with the furniture in that vertical hallway, if you had gone right, there is a save point that's much closer. But I elected to just head straight for the skeleton caves, because this is where you are intended to go first anyway. Might as well, you know, cut down on some backtracking. And this is, like, this stretch of the game, you can see, there's that whole upper left section we spawned in from that warp. There's this upper right section and lower right section we haven't explored yet, and now we're in the skeleton cave right now. So that's, again, that is 4 entire areas to explore, and the game doesn't really make it immediately clear where exactly it is you have to go. So, if you're like me, playing this game for the first time, you will just, like, wander around in circles like a headless chicken for, like, literal hours, just scratching your head as to where the hell you're supposed to go, especially since so many rooms and hallways are so winding and they look so similar. Anyway, let's try to do some damage stacking again. It's a bit difficult on this guy because he can block. But let's give it a try. Oh, damn. Nah, I don't remember the setup for damage stacking, unfortunately. Get down from there, bud. Yeah, as you can see, you hit him enough times. Starts doing this shit. I don't feel like spending any more crosses on this guy, and I don't remember how to damage stack, so I'll have to look it up at some point between recordings. It's been a long time since I watched any YouTube videos related to Castlevania or anything, but son of a bitch. Jupiter Climb on YouTube. There's very great videos talking about Castlevania, speedrunning, playing randomizers and all sorts of stuff, but I've not actually sat and watched him in years. I recommend him. Anyway, just gotta wait for this guy to take his sweet ass time. We're almost done with this fight though. Oh fuck. That laser beam. I think you should have just started the fight off with that. Oh, isn't that just the most clever, you know, the most clever video gaming related observation of all time? Oh, why doesn't the boss just use his super powerful kill move right away? Why does he wait until he's almost dead? You're like, yeah, you're so fucking smart for pointing that out, man. I'm just arguing with myself. Anyway, we got the Soul Feather, which is absolutely huge, because now we have a double jump. Now, movement is way, way easier, and a huge amount of the game is open to us now. You can see we can actually get up here now. And fun fact about this game, and a handful of other Castlevania games, inherent to your double jump is during your second jump, if you hold down and you press jump again, you get a diving kick, which is really nice because it does a little bit of damage, which is nice, but more importantly, you can bounce off of enemies and gain height off of them, which allows you to do some really crazy stuff. That, and you just get a huge boost of horizontal speed when you do this, which allows you to just move faster, which is, you know, always appreciated. What a fucking crazy room, man, my god. Anyway, now here, this is a part of the game I've been waiting to talk about, because I talked about how this game has a questionable map layout, and how it has a lot of backtracking. This game has an extremely questionable layout for its map, and this is, like, the most peak example. I've been giving this game shit already for having a lot of just random dead ends for absolutely no reason. But this right here, coming up pretty quickly here. Well, I guess there's actually more to this cave. I completely forget there's a whole extra section of the cave over here, but yeah, I'm getting a bit of my head ahead of myself. My god, I can't even speak without stumbling over my words. Just hurry up and get to the end of this winding section. There's even a cool hat. Isn't that neat? Hey, slightly better than the robe. Sure, why not? The cloak, whatever the fuck it's called. Anyway, yeah, we come all the way up here, and there's a dead end. Look how much extra space we're allowed to explore. Yeah, we'll have to come back here later. That wall, you know, it's very distinct looking. And as you could probably pretty easily guess, there's something you get later that enables you to get past that wall. We'll get there when we get there. That hallway in particular, though, again, just getting ahead of myself. We'll get back there later. This game, my point is, this game really does love its arbitrary, just dead ends at like every corner. It can get to be a headache to explore sometimes. Again, mostly if you're not already familiar with the layout. Alright. Finally made it to the next actual area game. Quickly, unequip this stone, because a lot of the enemies in here, you see this armor knight, takes one fewer hit to kill him, because he actually resists fire, so yeah, using that red stone you got will just lower your damage against this guy. An Uncurse potion, quite nice. Curse is one of those statuses I was talking about earlier. We still fortunately have not gotten inflicted with any statuses. Let's keep it that way for as long as we can, because Curse is really fucking stupid, but anyway. Oh, that just completely missed. Here we go. Turquoise, I'm much more green than it is blue, although, okay, I honestly don't remember if turquoise was like a blue-green or not. Oh, yep, another dead end. Stay classy, Harmony of Dissonance. I do like these, man-eater enemies and the witches, by the way. This hallway has so damn many of them. Although, they're not too difficult to take out. Right. Finally made it to another save point. And, well, been playing for about an hour now, so I'd say that's a pretty good spot to wrap it up. Thanks for watching. Never done this kind of content before. Or, you know, never really sat and recorded my own voice and tried to commentate over something like this. So, you know, make me feel a bit nervous. That'll be all for now, so thanks for watching, and see ya.